We saw a couple of initial, I don't know what to call it, episodes of Sara stealing things. At the locker, she was running her own little cohort with her friends.
What was that?
Little
Yes.
enterprise.
Yes. So
Very bling ring. It was very kind of, I was like, what's going on, girls? They're like tweeting, they're Instagramming, and they're also stealing things. So I was,
yes.
Well, she may have her own little ring developing, so who knows? But as a mom, I think that would be crossing the line for Ruby. If she felt like her daughter, that she was being such a bad influence on her daughter, I think she would definitely quit it. She would quit and move away. But that's something down the road with the writers. But I just think as a parent, you don't want your child to make the same mistakes you made.
True.
That's true. Do you think that Ruby handled her punishment, so to say, as a parent? Like, do you think she handled it correctly?
Yeah, to a degree. It's tough love. I mean,
and she didn't even ground her.
She let her have it.
She said, you owe me.
I mean, what are you gonna just...
I know. I felt like true. And I feel like she was really passive aggressive towards her. Did you think that was, I mean, do you think that that's how it should have been handled? Like, what, being a parent, give me your insight, because I felt like Ruby was being passive aggressive to Sara. She also said she wasn't going to ground her, and she said, you're an adult, pretty much you're an adult now, and we're going to handle this like an adult. So Regina, tell me what your thoughts are. What did you think about this scene? What do you think about how she handled it?
I mean, as a parent.
Yeah.
And I'm a parent.
If you didn't know, Regina's a parent.
Yeah, tell us.
Newsflash.
Yeah.
But, I think you come from so many different emotions. So, of course, passive-aggressive as a parent, I think that just comes hand in hand, But I like the way she handled it, because she had to be tough with her, because she had to let her know, I don't approve of what you're doing, and I'm not going to tolerate it, and just the whole dynamic of it, getting fired from her tutoring job and everything like that. And all of a sudden, oh, you're telling me about what I do? Oh, you're woman enough to be in my shoes, that kind of thing. So I think we're going to see even more of Sara and Ruby really clashing. And I think if anything can get to a parent, it's their child. So
that's true.
Amen to that.
Hold on to your seats for that one.
Maybe she's gonna, check her, check herself a little bit. Ruby will, like, seeing that she's making this much of an impact will influence her to stop, if there could ever be a time to stop or get out of this. She's tried it before and it hasn't worked.
So what would you do as a parent? I know you're not a parent, I take it.
I'm not. I'm a plant parent. Yeah. So those don't talk back to me.
Yeah, my cactus don't speak back. Yep.
Nurture, sing to it, talk to.
Exactly. I don't know what I would do as a parent, but it is interesting watching the storyline develop, and just as a pure entertainment factor, I could see Sara, and this could be in part of predictions, but I could see Sara doing a couple of things for the girls, like, not like in the gang or in the book club, but I could see her
like dropping things off or something.
I don't know, doing something like as a kid, like maybe at school. I don't know. Annie could get to her. You know what I mean?
Ooh. You never. I really hope not. That's a good. That's sinister, Kelsey.
I know.
But you know what? I wouldn't put it above this show, and I think that I'm not a parent either, but when my parents, if they grounded me, it did nothing. But when they said they're disappointed in me, or what Ruby said, you owe me.
Yeah.
That is that's gonna like a dark cloud over you. So I think that's good parenting. But I'm worried. I'm not so worried about Sara. I'm worried about their relationship. You saw me. I almost cried because I feel like this is gonna affect Ruby and Stan. But then at the end, they had a nice kiss. So I'm like, maybe it won't. But when he finds out that she's been holding this behind his back, this is going to break their marriage.
And you definitely, as a husband and wife, you need to be on the same page with those kids. You have to, because that will cause the biggest rift when you don't have each other's back. Especially, listen, you might disagree, but don't do it in front of the child.
True.
Let's talk about it. Pillow talk, okay?
I know, and they have gone through everything. Stan and Ruby have. And now I feel for Stan because he has two criminals, two of the ladies living under his roof. So I don't know. I feel for him in this episode.
Good luck,
for sure.
Stan.
Good luck, Stan.
And I mean, we'll get to predictions. I have some predictions about Stan. We'll get to it.
Okay, I'm excited to hear those.
Yeah.
But first, Regina.
Well, of course, everybody out there, we want to thank you so much for supporting us here at AfterBuzz TV. We could not do it without you guys. We appreciate every time you go on to iTunes and give us that 5-star rating. We also appreciate when you go to YouTube and you subscribe to AfterBuzz TV and you give us the thumbs up. And I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that we love all your comments and we go on and we read. And we will give you shout outs. So thank you so much for supporting us here at AfterBuzz TV, guys. Keep those thumbs up coming. Subscriptions, 5 stars. We love it. And love you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And we're going to read some of your comments here at the end of this episode.
Absolutely. It'll be appropriate. I have a lot, but people are going crazy in the live chat. So we'll get to all of you, I promise. I know people are getting impatient.
Keep chatting. It's fine.
Please keep chatting.
Okay, so we're going to switch to a lighter note. We're going to talk about Annie, which is always a fun, childlike topic to chat about. So this episode, first of all, let's paint the picture here. Annie is going to a children's therapist, and this really paints the picture of her not quite being an adult. She is the baby of the girls, of her sister and Ruby, and she just could not seem more like a child, even though she's raising pretty much an adult already. Like, she's a mom, but she's definitely acts more juvenile than her child does. So this episode, she falls in love with her therapist. And I would call it love. I would call it lust. She's just looking for somebody. And I think I might have predicted or talked about wanting her to fall in love with her therapist. And this episode, I was like, no, I'm not okay with it.
It's infatuation, though, Kels. Like, I think that with a lot of Annie's thing is like always filling an emotional void. And I think that she kind of, like, even her wearing the same outfit the second day with the glasses, she's always trying to be cool, which is fine. But I think emotionally wise, her emotional intelligence is so low. And I think I looked at you at one point when we were watching it, and I was like, her emotional intelligence is higher now. And then she had a hit on him. I'm like, come on, girl.
But
like,
I'm added to it.
But he hugged her about cancer. That was all fake.
Come on. That was beyond a therapist hug.
It was. All right, fair enough.
You know,
I mean, in this day and age, we do talk about hugging a lot, and I would classify that as a lingering hug.
It was.
It was a long hug.
That was beyond, I'm your therapist, and we are definitely professional client, you know.
Right.
Yes.
Of course, my prediction, I'm still holding on to it, that she's not going to have to get the baby from Canada.
She's going to take one of his patients. You did say that.
They're going to have their little fling. It's going to be a one-nighter. Okay. And we're going to see 9 months later if it's a girl or a boy.
Oh, my goodness. Annie cannot have another baby.
Annie and her babies.
She's not ready.
Annie and her babies. People in the live chat are saying Storm Within is saying Annie is her own worst enemy, which I very much agree with that.
It's so true. Yeah. I mean, she's going to therapy. I think that's so good. And even the girls, Ruby and Beth, were pleasantly surprised, I think, that they heard she was going to therapy. They were like, what?
Physical therapy?
Physical therapy? Like, this is not in your nature.
She's trying.
And she's trying. She's putting in an effort. And yeah, she does become her own worst enemy whenever she kind of demolish. I don't know what the word is, but
she's a sabotager.
She's self-sabotage. You talked about this at the beginning, and yeah, I think that could be truer. So
it's kind of a bummer, and people are going crazy for the long hug. So Vic Contreras is saying, "Oh my God, Annie with her." In quotes, long hug, LOL. Yeah. So we saw the long hug. It was a little lingering, but you know what, guys? We'll see what happens.
I know, but was it appropriate or not? I mean, he was hugging her for cancer, but was it too long? I don't know where he came from. Like, what was the place that the therapist came from? Did you guys get a sense of that?
Oh yeah, he's in need too.
How did you? Okay. Wow, Regina, not only a parent, but she can read people's needs. That's great. I mean,
Okay, guys, how far your mind's taken what I just said?
Amir, did you catch the same need or
what
not?
I caught was that like professionally, it's like when someone's a kindergarten teacher, they're like kind of starved for any kind of adult interaction, and it seems like even though she's emotionally very like not that intelligent and kind of like a little kid, she's an adult woman, and I'm sure like he probably just does this and goes home, and it seems like he's from England, he's probably closed off, doesn't have a lot of friends, and even him coming to her apartment. I thought that was more inappropriate than the hug. Because I think I looked at you and I was like, how does he know her address? Like
that's what she said, right? Like, aren't you a stalker too?
I felt like that was a little inappropriate. For me, it was worse than the hug.
That was bad.
Because you came unannounced. What if she was married? What if she had a boyfriend? Like,
Didn't she talk about? She probably talked about that in therapy. Do you think?
Are you trying to say he's a stalker? Maybe.
No, I don't think this show's that sinister. Like, if it was you on Netflix, like he would come for her. But I think this show is it's all about giving Annie enough rope to hang herself. And unfortunately, she time and time again does it. And we're just like, Annie. But she's so comedic and she's so amazing. And the fact of the matter is she's a good mom. She's raising a child that's transitioning. You could be the best mom on paper and not be able to handle that. So as someone that's part of the LGBTQ, I super respect her for taking that on. And I love that storyline. I hope we get a little more insight into that. But I love that kind of side thing about Annie.
I know. She is really good about that. Even though she has a lot of shortcomings in her own life and trying to keep it together, I think that she does really well as a parent.
Definitely. She shows up, which is half the battle.
She does, and when she needs to show up. And otherwise, Beth has got it, right? Her older sister, that's fine.
She's in charge.
And speaking of Beth, can we talk a little bit before we get into the business side of things? Her relationship moving forward with Dean. Speaking of lingering things, there was a lingering kiss between Beth and Dean right at the very end. And it was the first moment, Amir, you talked about this during the show, about how it was the first moment that we saw both of them connecting to each other. Not one of them using each other, Beth using Dean for sex so she could get pregnant, or Dean using her, using Beth to try and like save their marriage or anything like that. It was like a mutual, we're having a kiss and we're having a moment. How do we feel about this?
I felt good. Like, I was the first time, I've very much been Team Dean for some reason. I'm the president of He'll Get Better Club, so I love seeing a man kind of figure it out. And I think they have 4 children together. And let's be honest, Beth is a complicated woman, and she's involved in all this stuff. Every man is not going to be able to handle this. She has, like, gang members outside her door. I mean, he came in with that hilarious scene, and people are loving this on the live chat when he came in with the shotgun.
The moose!
I think that
Dean's
really
got to get rid of a moose.
But Dean is great.
With them. When he came in with the shotgun, I think that gave her, she was scared. She didn't want a gun in her house, okay? But I think it showed his really macho side, but also his protecting his family.
He's a dad.
He stepped up like, a lot of guys maybe would have taken a step back or not gone as far, but he really stepped up to show how much he loves his family to the point of protecting them, any means necessary. Yeah.
He's still there, which is a big factor. I mean, he was there even when he wasn't wanted. He was there when she kicked him out. Like, Dean just hasn't left.
He got shot and was still there. I was shocked by that.
They are the only two. Stan, here's the thing. Like, Stan knows everything that's been going on, and Ruby tells Stan everything. Now, we'll see. But Dean has experienced it. He's been shot. He's been there. But he also lied about having cancer. I mean, he's done a lot of terrible things.
But I forgot about that. Oh,
hashtag we can never forget.
Wow, I forgot about that. Okay, I don't know. I might be revoking Team Dean. That was a bummer. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, I like him as a character, and I don't want him to leave. I don't know. I think that there are some redeeming qualities, but every time we go down this road where he does try to help, or we do think has a redeeming quality, he goes back 10 feet and says he has cancer, or does something else that's just gets him in trouble. You can just see it in his nature. When he went to go purchase the gun, he flat out told the man that he was going to shoot somebody. And he was like, that's the one rule. I'm shocked that he still got to buy a gun. I don't know how that even happened, but he came home with a gun. After that, it was like, oh yeah, it's a moose. There's a moose that I'm trying to kill. And you're like, come on, you still need to do a background check after this guy told you that he's going to murder somebody.
Like, come on. And he still got the gun.
And he still got the gun.
Doesn't say a lot about the state of the U.S., but that's a different conversation.
That's too fun. We're just sticking to the show.
And Micah Dawn is saying something funny. Micah's saying in the live chat, I'd rather kiss the moose. All right, okay. Very, we support. No mooses were hurt in the making of this episode.
Has he ever seen a moose?
Well, you know what?
Scary looking creature.
I think we're talking about Rio as the moose.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Yes.
That
We
Micah's
got
clever.
you. You're clever, but we're picking up what you're putting down.
Okay.
But Micah's also saying, I love Matthew Lillard, which I do too. We're very much on the same page so much, but don't care for Dean's treatment of Beth. But I think, like we talked about that kiss at the end, I think Dean is trying. He said no to the woman. He got demoted to, barbecue supplies. He lost a lot of money. He lost a lot of respect. And he missed a chance to have sex. And he's a bit of a sex addict. So I think him stepping in and doing that was great. He's a redeeming man.
He's had a humbling experience. He has been humbled and continues to be.
Absolutely.
So that's good. We'll see what path that Dean takes this season. Let's jump into the business side of things. So let's talk about the moose in the room, and that's Rio. Here's the thing. He told Beth from the very beginning, what was it, season 1 or 2, that if you've got a rotten egg, you've got to get rid of it. And this episode, Beth is the rotten egg because she tried to kill Rio. And to get rid of that rotten egg, you've got to kill Beth. And that is where this whole episode was kind of leading. But she, said the lie, like she lost the baby, which we kind of like skimmed over that. And Rio was like, okay, moving on. I'm going to have to kill you. And
He did touch her, though.
He did.
Nice.
And he doesn't want to kill her. Like, no. I think he was looking for any excuse. And he found his excuse that she can make money. So that is where we landed. I think that we were talking a little bit, so I'm excited to jump into this business conversation because in this series, I can never follow the business side of things. I get so confused. I am caught up on love. I am caught up on lust. I cannot keep the business side straight. But what I got was that Beth is using one of Rio's guys to kind of change the money. And so she makes the counterfeit money. He has to change it over. And Rio found out about the money being changed, brought this guy in, and then Rio found out that Beth is the one who is pushing this money. Is that right? Or am I missing a piece? Does that sound like what you guys saw last night?
I'm thinking that not necessarily that he found out, I think he found out another way in trying to get rid of the money, that it was counterfeit.
But we think
that it came back.
We think it was still part of Rio's business, the whole money situation. Like, did that go through Rio?
Or did he try to double-cross Rio? He was doing it behind his back, and Rio found out.
Who are we talking about? We need to be specific.
His goon.
Which one? The one outside his house?
The van.
Or
the guy that was driving that Beth gives the money to.
Like the mover.
The mover.
But the only thing that I have a problem with that is that, like, there was no conversation or scene where Rio introduced her to the mover. The mover just moved her stuff in. So she met him on her own accord. So I don't think it's one of his guys. But then people in the live chat are saying differently, and then people are contradicting each other. So I think everyone's a little confused. I think what I think it is that Rio just has his ear to the street. So if someone's laundering that much money, he's going to hear about it. Because there was no ever conversation where they met. That's the only thing, right, Kelsey? I don't know. It's confusing. People are confused.
I know, because what I'm thinking is, like, if Rio's business is so big and he does have his hand in all these different pockets, then if something's moving and it's, he ends up with some fake cash, then he's going to find the rotten egg, as he likes to say, and fix it. And so when he was fixing the problem with the rotten egg, it turns out the rotten egg is Beth's person.
Which I don't understand, because he never said I worked for Beth. So that
he did when he was like.
Did he say that?
Yes,
he
said
caught.
He was like, "Who is your employer?" And you couldn't hear it, but he was saying, "Just some witches with a B."
Oh, got it. They need to be more specific, because I missed that, and I was watching very carefully. So I think a lot of people in the chat are saying that this is not Rio's peeps. They're saying that guy doesn't know Rio. We're getting a lot. So I think that they're kind of agreeing with us. That's what it is. I don't think they know each other. I think you were right, and that's what I was trying to allude to, is that Rio found out from another source. Yeah. About this counterfeit money.
Oh, completely unrelated.
Totally unrelated. And somehow that money, counterfeit money, might have made its way back through some business of Rio's. And he found the money was counterfeit, went after this guy, and that's when they were tying him up in a chair, beating him. Because
they got him in the bar, too. You said that. Yeah. They were in the bar. So maybe he was laundering some through that bar, but didn't know that Rio owns it.
Yeah, that's true. So I think he found out through a third source. He had no idea that this guy was working for Beth.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, keep letting us know what you think. Leave us comments, paragraph comments explaining this whole operation. Maybe we can figure it out by next week. We'll see. Let's go ahead and jump into one of our favorite segments, and that is the Baddest Good Girl.
Well, baddest good girl, it's got to be Ruby in the way she handles Sara to me.
Okay, Regina, I like this.
I like a mom that can let their child know who the boss is, okay?
Gotta be the alpha.
And put her in her place and let her know, you owe me, honey. And when your parents tell you that, it's like a shiver goes down your spine, like, okay.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, I thought it was Ruby. And I like the way she followed up. And when she was in that pawn shop, she saw the pin set. And she's like, excuse me? And then she pulled out the cell phone, like, was it this, boo? You know, putting her daughter on blast like a wanted poster. So Ruby definitely, to me, was the baddest good girl.
Okay.
I like that. Reasons. I like that. All right, Amir.
I'm up. And I am up. And I agree with Micah Dawn, my girl in the chat. So she's saying Sara was the baddest good girl, and I agree with that. So I think that she is, at the end of the day, sometimes what we don't like in our children, again, I don't have children, is what we kind of value in ourselves. We don't like seeing it. We're like, oh God, like she's too good at this. So Sarah's way too enterprising the way she hid the money. And she said, Mom, I hid it where you hide it. So it's really hard for Ruby to stand on too much moral high ground. So I think my girl, Sara.
I like that. Yeah. Okay, we have both Ruby and Sara as the baddest good girl. I am going to come out of left field here, and I'm going to go with Annie for this episode because she put herself out there. And although there's some flaws in doing that, I think it was bold of Annie to to be honest and transparent and say, I would be up for making this, you know, more than just a therapy session. I like you. I want to bone, as Annie says
Bone
it.
Town.
And I want to go to Bone Town. And she was honest. She was upfront. She was transparent. And that's bold and that's gutsy. So that's why I'm going to give Annie the baddest good girl. I think we have lots of baddest good girls up here. And if you have somebody that you want to say is the baddest good girl, let us know in the chat or in the comments.
So, Kelsey, we have someone. So this is a good one, someone we didn't say. Baddest good girl to me, coming from Vic, it was Beth, only because she found a way to stay alive.
No.
Honorable mention to Sara, she can't lie as easily as Beth. Oh. So Beth is the liar and the baddest good girl.
Okay.
Thank you, Vic Contreras. Yes.
Thank you, Vic. I like that one. All right. So let's move on to the news.
Yes, we have some news.
We have some news, Amir.
So right off the top, it's funny that I said it was the baddest good girl. Sarah Hill, the person that plays her, the actual actress, her name's Lydia. And so she's going to be in a new Netflix show. Remind me her last name again, Kels.
Jewett.
Okay, yeah. So Lydia Jewett's going to be in a new Netflix show called The Next Bee Movie. And it's coming out. So I think our girl is really kind of soaring. I mean, and I was telling Kels, I felt like kind of like a proud uncle. I was like, she's grown up on the show. It's been now 3 seasons. We've seen her kind of just being this dorky kid, and now kind of in her developing, coming into her own, and I'm proud to see that. So I was really proud of our girl Lydia.
Great.
And then we also have news. So the girls in 2019 for the Satellite Awards, which is like a online kind of blog award, they got like best comedy ensemble, and then Christina Hendricks kind of got best comedic actress for this show. So they won a Satellite Award.
That's amazing.
Exciting. I know. We need people to watch this show. We love The Good Girls. Like, every time anyone, like, my roommate will see me watch it, she's like, what are you watching? I'm like, it's so good. Like, so I'm really happy they're getting recognition and people will really start to get on board. And I was telling you off camera as well, I was like, Netflix, buy the show so we can all binge it and we can have it go on for like 7 seasons. So we'll see what happens.
I know. That's so incredible that they're starting to get awards, too. I think that they should be winning more awards. Yes. And hopefully they will this season and in the upcoming seasons because they deserve some recognition.
They really do.
Definitely.
They really do. And I think that getting Rhea from, Orange is the New Black and just the performances from Rio, I feel like there's an Emmy in their future, but we'll see who gets it.
Right. And the show is becoming more and more polished. Like, the first season was incredible, but there was still getting to know the cast and getting to know your characters. And they didn't know that Manny Montana would have such a reoccurring role. And he just ended up being part of the cast, like part of the ensemble. So it's cool to see where that goes. And I feel like now we're in season 3. It's time for them to start winning some awards. So
It's time.
It's time.
It's time. And I think that, honestly, Rio is a feminist. I'll say that now. I think he's a feminist. He supports female business, female empowerment, because I've yet to see him be disrespectful to a woman or kill a woman. So I think that he's a feminist.
Well,
those are my 2 cents.
If he wanted to kill Beth, she'd be dead by now. I mean,
true.
Speaking, of course, with the show, we can't kill off the main character, but I'm just saying, if he really wanted to kill Beth, he would. But I think he still has a thing for Beth.
Okay, this is starting to sound like what I think is maybe a prediction. So let's just jump into it.
Before we jump in, can I interrupt? Sorry, because we have a lovely person that's correcting me. They already should. I thought I said they already have Golden Globe and Emmys. I'm sorry.
Oh, they should.
They should have it. I thought they said they already have that. So Storm Within said I misread. So I thought that we were wrong. So no, they should have Emmys.
Storm Within. We agree.
Thank you. Okay. Back to the predictions. Sorry.
Let's jump into predictions.
TV predictions.
All right, before we jump into what our individual predictions are, you guys can be thinking right now what your individual prediction is. Let's talk about the promo. So in the promo, we saw a cemetery. We saw a bird, a specific yellow bird, and we saw more of Rio along with Beth saying, "This is a new low, even for us." Whoa! That's
never a dull moment.
Words. Yes.
Never a dull moment.
So that's what we were given for the promo for next week for Aju. Who wants to start us off with predictions?
Well, I'm going to let this handsome gentleman to my right.
All right.
I was like, where are you at? Is it me? So I think that I loved the preview as well, and it was so whimsical, and I loved it. And the girl that does the graphic design, that was her bird they stole. So I don't know if it's like a bird snatching scheme of getting her to kind of get back in their team, which is great because I was complaining about missing her. So I'm happy she's going to come back.
You were. I'm so happy for you, too.
I know. I'm genuinely happy. But for predictions, I think that Rhea has to come back out from her. Wherever they're keeping her, she's at home with her kids. It's time for her to make a big splash. And again, my predictions for the last couple of episodes have been that she is going to be more involved criminally. So there has to be a scene where she kind of brings out her inner Salma Hayek, wears like a little pantsuit and is a drug lord and just gets out there and really just like has a moment. We need a slow-mo scene. They love their slow-mos on the show. We need one with Rhea. So that's what my prediction is. And I think that her saying she lost the baby, what's going to end up happening is Beth is actually going to be pregnant. But from Dean, by Dean, because they had a lot of unprotected sex. So I think that what's going to end up happening is that like even they've connected again with the kiss, that she's going to be pregnant.
Baby number 5.
Oh.
Baby number 5. They don't have money as it is.
Nope.
This is not going to be good.
They're a soccer team, basically.
They are. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say. I don't know. I don't know what to predict about Dean, if he's going to be a good guy, if he's not going to be a good guy. That's a hard one for me to really put my finger on right now. But I am going to say that, talking off of Sara being the next baddest good girl, I'm going to say that she does something for the girls. Like, I don't know. I think she's going to get worked into the crime ring somehow in this season. I'm predicting it. I'm predicting it. It runs in the family. That's my prediction. And then I'm also going to predict that Noah is going to come back into the picture.
Yes, you've been saying that. Come on, Noah.
I really want something with Noah and the FBI and Annie is going to work out. So I think those are my predictions. either for the next episode or maybe a little bit on down the line. Okay? Regina.
Well, I'm going to say that Beth is going to be pregnant, but she won't know if it's Rhea or Dean's.
Paternity test.
Because I think at some point you can see the sexual tension between those two. Every time they get together, the chemistry is there. They already had their affair, whatever. But I think
new sex, not old, not from before.
No. I think she knows how to play him certain ways. And I think she's going to seduce him to get him under control.
Dean, you're talking about, or Rio?
Rio.
Oh.
She's going to seduce Rio to get him under control. I think they're going to have like a hot, passionate fling. And the next thing you know, those pregnancy tests are going to be real, but she won't know if it's Dean or Rio.
Oh, wow. Regina.
Oh, man. This is...
She has a magical bag.
I know.
She's magical.
It's the time change, guys.
Making you frisky?
I know.
Okay.
I mean, who isn't up for Brio? So...
Oh, they are for Brio. And Vic Contreras has a great prediction saying Rio's going to take over their business and now will force them to work for him and make the money. Hopefully more scenes with Brio chemistry. This last one last night. Damn. Thank you, Vic Contreras. Yep.
Beth is not going to go for it. That's why she's going to seduce him.
I mean, that girl is magic. The hair, the body. I mean, who looks that good in a terry cloth robe, honey?
Right.
So I am everything. I am Team Beth.
She oozes sex appeal, I have to say.
Oh,
she really does.
She does.
You could see her with pretty much anyone.
She's wonderful. And she made curvy, like, sexy back on Mad Men when it wasn't really body positive everywhere. And she's always just, and that's why I love Christina Hendricks. I'm such a stan.
She's great. Okay, speaking of our shout outs, thank you for reading some live shout outs and predictions. We're going to jump into last week's comments. Thank you guys who commented on videos last week. We are just going to read a couple of those. And this is from Micah Dawn. I am back. Yes, you are. So, are you watching the first week in the backtracking? We are not. We have been posting episodes every week. So, if you're just now joining us, welcome. You can go catch up on our past episodes. Mike also says, Beth did let the big guy know, but unfortunately, the big guy works for Rio, and we all know who the gang lord is. Beth better not trust Rhea. You know how deep down Rhea is probably still in love with Rio or something very close to it.
Very good.
Don't mess with her. A woman knows things Rhea probably even knows or thinks that she knows Beth and Rio are getting busy and ultimately had feelings for each other. So she's saying that Rhea is probably up to speed with Rio. And come on, Beth shot her baby daddy. The only way Rhea could be okay with that is if she hates Rio's guts to the core. This is going to be fire. Yes, it is. And then we have Brian McGee. Thank you for commenting, Brian. Annie is my baddest good girl for taking therapy because it made her realize how much her sister has been there for her and how selfish she can be not in seeing that and why I feel that therapy is so important.
Great.
And then we also have Jay. One last comment before we close up. Jay says, thanks for the shout out. I've been into this show since day one, but just recently started watching the AfterBuzz show with y'all this season. So welcome, Jay. Great hearing your opinions and views. Looking forward to how the next season unfolds. Thank you for commenting. If you want to get a shout out, be sure to comment on this video and we can shout you out on our next episode. All right, guys, any closing thoughts?
I'm just excited to the core.
Yeah.
All right, me too. And we're excited to see what happens next week. So until then, Regina, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Regina Cole's Instagram, guys. And if you want some great fitness tips, at Fit by Regina.
We all need that.
Yes, we do. You can find me on Instagram, Amir, A-M-I-R, Yass, like Yass Queen _. And if you want to go to my TikTok, I have a lot of fun videos. It's Amir Yass as well, A-M-I-R, Yass like Yass Queen. Thanks, lovelies.
All right, and I'm Kelsey Hightower, and you can find me at Kels Hightower, where we can continue talking about good girls. Until next time, book club, we'll see you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.